All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're watching the 6th round of the LTC Strasbourg Saturday. I'm back with Samuel.
Hi, everyone.
And we are looking at Marath against the Beamtown Bullies. Quite a cool deck. Both decks are quite cool. This is the Marath we've seen in round 2, I guess it was, against Satya. And Valentin is playing his pet deck in the very last rounds. The very last round of the or pre-top 8.
Yep. Yeah, so these are two pretty established decks in the meta.
Yeah.
They're maybe not tier 1s or not that popular, but they are both very good. They both definitely have the potential to, beat any deck in the format. The Beamtown Bullies list plays a very good mid-range plan, and then has the kind of the one card combo with a command zone that it can just pull off if the opponent seems weak, if it doesn't seem like they have a graveyard interaction spell, or if it doesn't seem like they have a way to stop it. And the Marath deck, there are combo variants. If I remember correctly, there were possible combos in Marath.
Yeah. I was just about to say, actually, both decks feature mainly a mid-range plan, but you like Beamtown Bullies is definitely featuring the combo with the leveler. But Marath, on the other hand, sometimes you see kicky-jicky combos, sometimes you see some infinite counter things or live with Heliod and Spike Feeder and stuff like this. It's very diverse. But
Yep.
yeah, we just had
I
a
don't
look at the list.
see it in this list.
I think he's not. This is more like a hardened scales variant.
Yeah. So this there are maybe not a critical mass, but there are quite a lot of effects that allow you to increase the number of counters that get put on things.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
with Marath's ability to kind of to always put one counter, that is very strong in combination with those effects. And there's some pretty cool cards that exist nowadays that make that stronger, enable that. Like, for example, the Black Panther Wakandan King.
That's what we saw
Um,
in the second round, exactly.
Yep. And yeah, a couple of other cards: Luminarch Aspirant, Reluctant Role Model. Yeah.
So here we see a Survival of the Fittest, a very good card for Beamtown. You can just search yourself any utility creature and also getting your leveler in the graveyard. And right now it looks like Marath has a mana problem. There is a Court of Garenbrick, which grants you the Monarch. Fits very well into a counter, multiplying counter strategy. So here we see a switch elemental for an elemental. Grief for Fury.
Okay.
Seems to be fine. I mean, he probably has a pitch for the Fury, and then he just casts the Beamtown next turn. I mean, yeah, or just hard casting Fury also works, obviously.
Yeah, I mean that's the sort of safer play.
Yeah.
He had the ability to go for the win there, right?
Yeah, I
He
was
could have
just
searched
thinking about
Leveler,
it because he could have
and
searched Leveler, and then in his upkeep, because there is a slam foot to pitch for, right? But then you go all in. The question is, do you really need to do that? Probably not. Like, especially not in that situation.
exactly. Then again, I think the most prominent graveyard interaction spell at instant speed is Cling to Dust,
Yeah.
and obviously Marath isn't going to be playing a Cling to Dust, so
I think the only thing you have to be afraid of is endurance.
True, which the Marath player does play. Yeah,
Okay.
does play.
Yeah. Yeah, so he's Lion Sash. That obviously hinders Valentine from going for the leveler. But you present 10 damage a turn right now.
Yep.
And I think Lion Sash is definitely a problem. At the beginning of your upkeep, I think, the court is putting 2 counters onto a creature. So that's definitely a mistake. End of turn, not to activate the Lion Sash to exile a land, for example. Make it bigger.
Yep. Yep.
And here is a Parallax Wave. Good card.
Yeah, so
in this
I mean,
situation.
looking at it in retrospect, he would have won the game if he went for the combo instantly.
Yeah.
Um,
But still, I think with now Marath is tapped out, so he can't make use of the Lion Sash. So maybe you okay, he uses the slime foot to search for another creature. That's also fine. So there
okay, yeah, he
is
puts a leveler in graveyard.
yeah.
He gets a Canker Bloom. Yep. So this play does again run into endurance, but I guess he's risking it at this point.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly fine.
He could have attacked with the Fury, which would have
I mean he does, right? There's no combat step yet.
okay. Yeah, well he could have. Yeah.
So the leveler seems more like a backup, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just fine.
Yeah.
Would not be that big of a difference. I would have
The
probably. I mean,
Lions.
I'm thinking about whether or not the Lion Sash would have one counter more or less. That's what I was going through.
Yeah.
And here we have the Hardened Scares, turn 1. Cool card, you don't see it too often. Mainly or mostly in Marath. And there's a Luminash. That's a great combo.
Yeah, so he gets to have a 3/3
Right
right
away.
away, which will keep growing.
Yes. On the other side, a delighted halfling. We see animate that.
There is another Fury. Yeah, he's
pitching the new Bloodbraid. Also a cool card.
also a cool card. We were talking about it earlier. It's a tool against control because it puts 2 spells on the stack. There is always the risk of, putting a Birds of Paradise on the stack, which doesn't do that much.
Yeah.
I feel like that's kind of the consistent downside of playing these kind of value cascade spells in the 99 in these sorts of decks. I love them, but when the trigger doesn't get a creature that is like 1 or 2 less than the card that you're casting, but it gets one that's 4 less, then you're usually not really happy about paying mana for a 4/3 haste and a Birds of Paradise.
Yes, that's true.
Then again, Bloodbraid escapes from the graveyard, which is a kind of long-term game plan with these kinds of cards where you don't want to be risking too many resources. Like when you set up leveler Beamtown Bullies in a deck like this, it takes resources, and then you are kind of thinking, okay, how do I assemble it so that I don't that I'm not having too much card disadvantage. Goblin Engineer is a great card at that, and
I mean, the thing about the Bloodbraid is, like your high value targets are CMC 5. So you have a couple of good cards with CMC 4, that's for sure. And CMC 3 would be nice to hit as well. But then if you go lower, maybe like a tutor target, something like Animate Dead with something great in the graveyard. But you never want to hit a dork. Oh, there's a Brizzly. Brizzly is also powerful with hardening scales. Hardened scales, actually.
Yep. I mean, yes, it is. Not sure how well it stacks up against a Fury here.
I really like the Savannah. The altered art.
Yeah, that is
It's
nice.
cool.
Was there a fetch land with to go along with the Bristly? I didn't.
Yeah, it was a
like catch that.
prismatic Vista,
Yeah.
I
Okay.
guess.
So it's a 5/5 Bristly. So yeah,
6/6.
he gets to.
It's a 2/2 by
Oh, it's a
default.
2/2. Yeah. Yep.
Is it? Am I right?
It is.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. So yeah, he's gonna attempt to target leveler, exile his library,
And that's it.
and
That
that's
was
it.
a quick one, guys. That was a very quick one.
Yep.
So within 10 minutes, Valentin 2-0'd. But I think it's a very, very easy matchup for Beamtown, since unless you mulligan down to Lion Sash or any other graveyard hate, you're always in danger of losing against the combo. And if you have some graveyard interaction, your opponent can still run you down because they're playing all the good junt mid-range cards that Slimefoot is playing as well, right? So
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and I mean, when you look at these sort of matchups, Beamtown is a deck that kind of uniquely, as opposed to a lot of other combo decks, has a very strong mid-range plan, where
absolutely. That's
you have the
probably,
one card combo with your commander, and that just and even if you go, okay, I'll play my Beamtown Bullies, and then I'll attack for 4 Vigilance Haste, and then I'll have the ability to combo if I want to.
yes,
Um,
exactly.
you are still kind of you're still forcing the opponent to have an answer, um, even while maintaining the pressure of attacking with a 4/4.
Yeah. Yeah, I would be curious if Valentin has a couple of matchups in which he decides to swap for Slimefoot after game 2. Maybe against Control. I'm not sure. I mean, you have like one useless card in your library then, but I think that's fine if the mid range plan seems to be much better against certain strategies, and I could imagine it's the case.
Yep.
Okay, thanks for tuning in, and see you
Thanks for
in
watching.
the quarterfinal.
See you next time.
Bye bye.